imagine. When this whole thing started, I had a blank paper with the blank spots, blank slots, and the universe just guided everybody, whether I know most of them, I don't know, like new people, they were so incredibly beautiful, they start coming on board. And it is the age of co-creation. It is the age of coming out of that I, and I want to claim it, to just like be, just be, and be in your most beautiful authentic self and bring it out, and in such a divinity that the processing is ongoing, and it is so incredible. And welcome, we are live, beloved Nerika family, with my beautiful Anahata, and I am so blessed to have crossed this path with you, this journey together, working on the cosmic retreat, the first one, and now the second one, and in between sessions here and there. Is such an honorable, joyful presence of yours with me in our sacred space. Beloved family, welcome, wherever you're at, whenever you're joining. You are most welcome to the sacred space, and we love you and we honor you, and we are here to hear you out. And we are here to hold the space with you and for ourselves. As facilitators, we are also here to receive the healing of the space with your presence. Today is day 6 of the Cosmic Activation Retreat. And why Cosmic Activation? Because the divine wants it so. I just follow orders. And this is what we call the beautiful moments of alignment and in oneness. When we receive, we trust the receiving, we trust the words, we trust the channeling, we trust the download, we trust our heart, because it's always leading the way to the best and to the highest good of all. I honor you all in this beautiful morning. It was such a beautiful morning for me, even though we've had some snow still around, the sun was out, and I was soaking in the sun since the morning, enjoying and resting, because getting into the sessions and being fully present and preparing for the evening sessions, it's my mission for those days. So I'm also giving myself the rest needed in between. So welcome Anahata, welcome love, welcome from the shores of Goa, the sun of Goa, meeting the sun of the Himalayas. Thank you, love, for being here.
Thank you, Ira. Firstly, as always, thank you for bringing so many different, facilitators of healing from different parts of the world, from different times, across space, to come together and create this community where we really come together to share, to learn, to grow, and to evolve. Like you rightly said, cosmic activation. No matter how much chaos there is in this human dimension, if we all stick to that reality, that we are all just cosmic beings, we are all beings of love, and that's where we're trying to get, that's the reality we're trying and working to manifest in our life, it really helps us tide through the challenges that we experience. For all of those who are watching and might have been experiencing extreme intensity over the last maybe 1 month or last 3 weeks or last couple of weeks, there have been 2 eclipses. We've had a lunar eclipse with the full moon. We've had a solar eclipse with the new moon, which just went this Monday. So clearly a lot is shifting energetically for our planet. And that's why a lot is shifting for each and every individual that is here. My name is Anahata Meher, and it is my role to be present, to hold space for anyone who wants to know more about life, who wants to discover more about themselves, who wish to understand that, we are all, we've all come from the same space, and to collaborate and to come together in one love. Of course, there are so many different ways in which I offer this work. Each one of us has our own avatar, and we have our own different roles to play. However, all these various paths are leading each one of us to the same destination, and that is one love, unity, consciousness. And when Ira asked me to share work in this Cosmic Activation Retreat, the message just came through the divine that we're going to work with the inner critic. And I am going to explain what the inner critic is. And I also understand why we're doing this work at this time. If we are talking about shedding, so much from our human existence, judgment is one of our biggest shadows. We are so easily judged by others, and we also so easily end up judging other people.
Ourselves. No, and also not only the judging the people,
And there, yes,
we are
ourselves.
judging ourselves at every corner. And
Yes.
every morning, the minute I open my eyes, like I will be like, am I really gonna pull through the day? And am I really gonna be able to do the 2 sessions? And that cute, calm, still voice within me was like, get up out of bed right now, and we're here for you. I'm just loving this message that keeps coming, that we're here. So why you were worried?
And also, to realize this path, to realize that each one of us, like if it's an individual journey, that I am this divine being and I've come here with a life purpose, and my purpose is this, and this is what I like, and this is how I like to dress, and this is who I am. To freely express yourself, we need to let go of judgment in all its capacity, whether it is self-judgment, whether it is judgment of others, or whether it is being or feeling judged by others. Okay, the one truth is that each one of us is unique. We are living this life at our own pace. It is our own individual story. In the Hindu worship and in the Hindu culture, there is a salutation to Lord Shiva. We all say, Har Har Mahadev. What does that mean? Har Har Mahadev. It means each one is Mahadev. Each one is going through their own journey, their own conflicts, their own battle between good over evil, between light over darkness, between love over lack of love. And in order to fully embody this divine messenger that each one of us is, we have to fall in love with ourselves, which is why the inner critic work is so important. I am not the creator of this work. It was shared with me by my teachers of shamanic healing so many years ago when I started on this journey. And ever since then, I have been working with this, and it really helps to identify the different ways in which we judge ourselves and how we judge others, and how, if we actually work with that inner critic inside of us, we can transform them into our inner champion, into our supporter, so we can fully manifest who we are. For example, on this path of being, a healer, I discovered that I love to have dreadlocks. However, the world that I came from would obviously look at me and think I'm crazy if I have dreadlocks. And I had to love that version of me to have these dreadlocks. I had to stop judging myself to be the fullest version of who I see and resonate myself to be. So without much ado, I'm going to go right into this work. For all of you who are watching live, I'm going to request you to go and get yourself a pen and paper, because I'm going to be offering you a small quiz for this identification. And those of you who are going to be watching later can pause the video and grab a pen and book, please.
I realized something when you just said how people perceive you and how you really want to be that version of you no matter what. Uh, they fight you at the beginning, try to convince you otherwise. And then when they realize you are happy and
Yeah.
you are happier than what they think happiness is, they will be okay with your dreadlocks.
Oh, fully. That's really what happened. When I started, you know how I'll always have feathers in my hair, and I'll always, And when I started that, because I used to live in Bombay City, so for all the people there, it was a bit weird. They would look at me and they would smile and they would tease me. And, eventually I was like, it really doesn't matter. I'm wearing this feather because I know what it means to me.
But
And when I see myself in the mirror, that feather is a part of what I'm meant to adorn, and it adds to my energy and it helps me be that version of myself. It empowers me, and my dreadlocks empower me. It's that they strengthen my communication. And in the beginning, my mother used to be like, oh, now cut them, and I used to go around telling them, 1 minute, huh? Shivji can have how many ever dreadlocks, you guys will worship him. If we have dreadlocks, we have to cut them off.
When I shaved my head last year, it was a divine calling. And it took me almost a year and few months to have my dress back. I kept them in my altar. And the day they were back, the immense activation that I felt, it was such a different version of me that emerged from the ashes. I was like, they're just dreads, Era. What are you thinking? But they carry that immense energy. And they are my roots, so I can fly as high as I want, and I am grounded. Doesn't matter how I am looked at.
That's what it is. That's what it is, sister. These are our roots, and they are grounding our soul into our human reality. That's how I see it. And
I spent the whole 3 days adorning them because I love to wear my crystals on me. That's it.
So I mean it doesn't mean that everyone should go and have dreadlocks because we have dreadlocks. You should go and be the way you really resonate with, be your most authentic self. What works for you, what feels good to you. When you look into the mirror, physically also you must appeal to yourself, and energetically also, when you look into your own eyes, you have to be able to love that version of you. Yes. And that's why we are doing this work of healing the inner critic today. So I'm going to take you right.
For more self-love.
Yes, for more self-love, and also to, release the impact that judgment has on each one of us. Most of us are so bothered by what people think about us, and what society thinks about us, or what family thinks about us, or what our partner thinks about us, and how they judge us and how they perceive us. And that takes away from the truth of who we are. Exactly. And if we are aligned with our truth, and if we love ourselves, slowly and surely everybody comes around. They begin to accept you exactly the way you are. So the inner critic is that part of us that judges us, demeans us, tells us who we should be or how we should be. It holds us back on our journey. It undermines us. It makes us feel that we are not good enough. Its core belief is that we have to be better, we have to fit in, we have to be a certain way. However, self-esteem is something that each one of us is born with. It's our birthright. We deserve to feel good about ourselves without having to prove it, or without having to earn it, or without having to do something for someone else. Even if we have made mistakes in our life, we still have the right to deserve the good things. We still have the right to deserve love, acknowledgement, another chance. If we cannot love certain parts of ourselves, we have to give love to those parts of ourselves so that they can transform. Right? And all of us go through this. All of us go through this at one point or the other, whether it's in our relationship, whether it's at work, whether it's with our family, especially with family, with the core family. The judgment shadow is the strongest because our parents have conditioned us or sowed the seeds within us when we were younger for how we should be. There is also society and family stuff, cultural stuff. In our culture, we do it like this. In our family, it is done like this. In our society, it is done like this. And all of those things tend to create a separation. It tends to suppress the truth of who we are. Because we are made to follow something that may not be aligned, or we may not resonate with it. Just because thousands of people before me in my community are doing it doesn't mean I have to do it. I have to discover the real reasons for doing it, right? And that's where the inner critic comes into play. There isn't only one inner critic. This shadow of judgment has been broken down into 7 different types of inner critics. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you briefly what these 7 types are and where and how they get created and how you may identify them in your life. After that, we'll go through a short quiz where I'll be saying a few statements to you and you'll be giving points to yourself, and we will total them up to understand which of your critics are most active. And then we'll go into integration. So it's a very fun process, and it's really something, it's an eye opener. When I did this work for the first time in 2015, all my critics were active. And I forgot about it. A few years later, I came back to this exercise 4 years later, and I revisited the quiz, and I saw that none of my critics were active. I had let go of self-judgment completely in these 4 years. So the work that we do on ourselves does work. No matter what it is, the paths that we choose, when we choose to let go, when we choose to heal, to transform, to love ourselves, to let go of our past, and it really works. This spiritual journey is our truth. Transformation happens. We fall in love with ourselves, we do become our authentic selves, and we keep expanding, and then we start merging. Exactly what's happening at this retreat, like how when I thrive and Ira thrives in her own light, then we connect, and then together we connect to a few more lights, and then a few more lights, and then a few more lights, and like that we create a worldwide web of only light. That's the idea, right? So the critic number 1 is the perfectionist. Most of us have experienced this perfectionist. The perfectionist is a critic who comes out of the fear of judgment. It wants us, it's a part of us that wants us to do things perfectly. It is a part of us that sets high standards for ourselves. It always makes us feel that we need to be better. It will not let us be satisfied with the work that we have done. It wants us to fit in with the people around us and with our community and society so that we don't face rejection. So that's the perfectionist for you. And it puts expectations, like so many people are so hard on themselves that they have to do this and they have to do it this way and they have to do this and they have to do that. A lot of people call themselves, oh, I am OCD. I need to keep everything so clean and this has to be like this and this has to be like that. That is also coming out of the fear of judgment, that another person should not see me and feel I am not good enough. Because somewhere deep down inside of me, I feel I am not good enough. So that's the perfectionist for you, our critic number 1. The second critic is our inner controller. This inner controller is created out of some suppression or some helplessness, usually early in our life. It can be created as learned behavior as well. Like, for example, if you see someone in your family to be a very controlling person, then you learn that kind of behavior from them and you tend to become controlling yourself. This inner critic, the inner controller, it tries to control our impulsive behavior. And it wants to make us a good person because it thinks we are not good. We have to be better. It wants us to be accepted by society and by community. And sometimes it makes us feel ashamed of ourselves. And this inner critic that is a part of our judgment becomes so strong sometimes, and it wants to control us to such an extent that it ends up creating a flip side. It creates an indulger. So most people, unfortunately, who go through addiction in their life is because possibly at some point they have been tried to be controlled by somebody, or they themselves have tried to control their lives or the outcomes of their lives, and the indulger takes over and chooses addiction. So the inner controller gives us the opposite as well. Sometimes it can be so strong, trying to control the outcome of everything and trying to stop you from doing what you please or feel free to do, that it makes you then indulge in things which is worse for you. Okay, that's the inner controller. Then we have the taskmaster, our inner critic number 3. The taskmaster is created out of the need of acknowledgement or lack of self acknowledgement. If we are not able to acknowledge our own self, or if we are seeking acknowledgement from our near and dear ones or our partners, the taskmaster is at play. It constantly wants us to work hard and be successful. It fears that we will become lazy, that we will be mediocre in our life. It fears that we might fail, that we will be judged by others if we don't keep doing the work. It pushes us to keep doing. You have to do, because if I do, I will be seen. If I don't do, I will not be seen. That is the taskmaster for you. Now, one thing about these inner critics, these 7 inner critics that we are talking about today, is one aspect of them lives inside of us. And a lot of times we will see this quality being embodied by a person in our life. For example, a mother or our father can be this taskmaster for us since childhood, or our partner might be that way, or our boss might be that way, constantly making us do stuff, and all we're doing is seeking acknowledgement from them. And if we feel that if we do not do what we are asked to do for them, they will not acknowledge us. So all we need to do is acknowledge ourselves and only do things that are aligned and that resonate, not to please another person. So that's the taskmaster. And all of us have like if the taskmaster is active in your life, there is definitely a person who embodies this role. Somebody who keeps behaving like an authoritative figure in front of you, pushing you to keep doing. Right? After the taskmaster, we have the underminer. The underminer is that part of our inner critic that comes out of low self-worth. This one is undermining our self-confidence, our self-esteem. It holds us back so that we don't take risks. It attacks our self-worth in order to protect us from doing anything where we might get hurt or we might feel rejected or abandoned. It is afraid also, this underminer is afraid that if we follow the path of our heart or our true calling, we might become so big and so visible, and then we will not be able to tolerate the judgment that is coming our way. So it's like, might as well don't do. Forget it, you're not good enough to be able to do this. Like, for example, when Ira was saying, there are times when she wakes up in the morning and she asks herself that, am I going to be able to go through this day? That there is the underminer at work. Who's making you feel that forget it, you don't have the capacity to do it, you're not going to be able to do it, so don't attempt it. And this one, I'm sure all of us have met a lot, and we will definitely see somebody close to us who also does this to us, constantly keeps putting us down or holding us back. Could be a friend. If we say, hey, I've decided to do this, they'll be like, no, are you mad? You think you can do this? I don't think you need to do this. Stay with this only. Or when you suggest to your parents that I'm thinking of shifting my job or I'm thinking of moving my home, and they'll be like, I don't think it'll be possible for you. You stick to your comfort zone. That there is the underminer.
I kind of identify it a little bit with doubt. Because we are so prone to stay in that comfort zone and we really don't want to drag ourselves to do anything else. So may as well that voice will be in the background. It's like, come on, just let it go. You don't have to do it today. Just do it some other day, but also don't forget, on the other hand, we have the voice of the soul that is much stronger the more we feed it with love and acceptance and acknowledgement and willingness and discipline. So that voice that becomes stronger, that gets you out of bed. And for me, it is so funny. I always joke about it. Put my bindi on and get camera ready.
It happens when we have to lead sessions where, like so many people are going to be watching. Or even for me, before I had to offer this inner critic work like this on this platform, and my underminer was on. Like and there was this other voice in my head, no matter what you do at 1:11 on Thursday afternoon, you're going to be sitting in front of your computer and you're going to be sharing this information. However, throughout the past 1 week, ever since I told Ira that, I'm getting this call, I'm going to share the inner critic work, and this whole thing was going on. Are you sure? No, you're not going to be able to do it. Maybe you want to change it. People will not understand. How will you share this information with people? No, 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 no. Maybe you shouldn't. And that was a clue for me that I must do it. I must
You
make people aware
are
of this
here.
information,
We are happy that you are, and you are happy that you are, and you are sharing, and you are pinpointing to these critics within our subconscious minds so that they come to the surface and we can see them and we can honor them and we tell them, you don't serve us. Thank you.
Yeah.
We transmute the light. That's so
Exactly.
amazing. It is so
Exactly.
amazing. Thank you.
And after the underminer, okay, the next one is a little bit intense. It's the destroyer. This one is created out of very intense trauma very early on in our life. So mostly in in our childhood, if we've gone through something really traumatic, it can create a destroyer who obviously attacks your self-worth and makes you feel that you have so many flaws, that you don't deserve respect. It also pushes the button of apathy. The meaning of apathy is, oh, can't change anything in my life. Let it go on the way it is going. I can't do anything. I'm just going to sit back and do nothing to change my circumstances. That comes from the destroyer. It is that aspect of us that is the self-sabotager. Some of us might resonate with that. Has anyone ever seen the self-sabotager? Ira, have you ever seen how you have set out to do something and then set dynamites in your own path? Have you ever experienced that?
Definitely. But as I'm saying, the awareness that we are developing is to see the both when they are coming and how it's working and explain for you and where it's coming from, and also the other polarity of it.
Yes.
Like me, I'm able to see the both. I'm able to see that
Yes.
there's these inner critics and there's the polarity of these critics, that it is always self-love. It's always self-love.
There is inner champion. So this is the inner critic, and by the end of today's session, we're all going to be leaving with inner champions, because that's what we are. We are our biggest supporters. We are our biggest support system. The journey is between us and ourself, our soul and our human.
Um, Anahata, can you hear me? I think I'm losing you in between. Anahata? Hello? And she'll be coming very, very shortly. And we are here with you. So, beloved ones, I will keep you company till Anahata comes back. And how empowering is to know ourselves and to be able to see ourselves in the eye, and only the eye of love and the eye of compassion. Neza Nahata was saying it just before her internet cut off. We are we are just on this journey to find ourselves. And actually, before we find ourselves, it's a journey of remembrance, because ourselves is within us. And we're not trying to find it anywhere else but into diving inward and diving within that heart space that is full of all the timelines within us, all that. And when we realize how magnificent is this journey, we come to a place of ease, bliss, joy, and that authentic self of ours will come forth, to lead the way. And I'll tell you, beloved, it's all has to start from loving ourselves unconditionally. So Anahata is just trying to come forward. Sometimes we are so strong, the energy is so powerful, the emission is so powerful, light is 360 degrees, where the technology cannot accommodate. Not only that, as we know, there are also a lot of shifts happening in the collective, as much as a beautiful expansion and more consciousness and more light being are awakening. There's still more suffering and there's still a lot of pain. There's a lot of purging in the collective from the old programming. So lower frequency energy, it is also in the field, and sometimes we get affected by it in very little incidents, but we are in the light. Being in the light will always bring us to that space of spreading this light and shining this light and becoming this light. And Anahata is trying to come forward. And for the ones who are joining here on Facebook, thank you. Thank you, Kirtana. Thank you, Amanda. And for the ones who will join later, it's such a great honor. Honestly, it's a great honor to be alive in these times, in these great times for us as individual and humanity. As you might know, the great shift is happening and it is upon us. And what I mean by the great shift is not much physical shift as much as it is energetic and as it is expansion in consciousness. Anahata is back, and this is some great news. As we are expanding in our consciousness, we become more accepting. We become more, I don't like to use the word tolerant, but accepting to the circumstances. My old self, all my 7 critics would have been so much alive, especially the perfectionist in moments like this that wants everything to run in the perfect manner. Even that little glitch would have had triggered me. But I feel the blessings of this expansion, and I feel the blessings of Anahata is back. And there we go. Happy to have you back, sister. Welcome
Sorry,
back.
I got bumped off, a little bit of a network issue. However, I'm back. You can hear me clearly, sister. All is good.
Very clearly, all is well. You are clear, you are back, and you are shining. And I was just sharing in that minute before you came in how much of a deep acknowledgement I am giving myself in this now, that this perfectionist, the first inner critic of mine, is really dormant. Otherwise, I would have been so triggered with the little things that don't work in place, that don't come in place just as I want them to be. And it just makes me feel so humbled with the expansion and the growth through this journey. Thank you.
Absolutely. I feel that this, this way of working, especially the online way of working, has helped us to shed so much, because you want things to work perfectly. However, you also realize that things are not in your control. And, the person who's sitting on the other side is not going to judge you, because it's not like you did this on purpose. And that's when you shed that perfectionism and you accept that this is how it's supposed to be. I mean, I was talking about the destroyer at the time when I got bumped off. So let me refresh our memory. We have the destroyer, who I said comes from intense early trauma, and it is that aspect of us that is the self-sabotager. And it sometimes believes that it is safer not to exist in this world. That's what it feels. So it is possible. This is a little heavy one. I've always seen that, unfortunately, there are some people who end their own lives, and it is quite possible that the destroyer might be really, really active in their life, makes them feel that this life is not worth living, and they cannot cope with anything, and they are not strong enough, and they end up taking their own life. So this is my understanding of the destroyer, and I always feel that it's a very, very intense one. Then we have the guilt tripper. I mean, we see guilt all the time, right? This inner critic is that part of us that is created out of shame and guilt coming out of certain incidents in our life. It is very bothered about what society thinks about us, or how we have to be, or how our family thinks about us. This critic is stuck in the past. It does not want us to repeat past mistakes. Therefore, what it does is it constantly keeps reminding us of the mistakes we've made and makes us feel guilty, so that we don't end up doing it again. And unfortunately, this guilt tripper does not let us feel freedom. The guilt tripper holds us back. It suppresses us, because it just does not let you become free from something that has happened in the past. And finally, we have the seventh critic, that is the molder. The molder is that inner critic that gets created out of little or no confidence within yourself. The feeling of nobody will like me. The part of us that makes us wants to fit in and changes according to different situations, or changes from people to people because we want to feel accepted. A lot of times we have seen certain people like that, who are different with different people. One aspect is the transient nature, where you're responding to everybody in the present moment. However, you are not losing your own identity. You are yourself, and you are happy to move. That is not the molder. The molder is when you are completely changing your own self to fit into a particular box, or to fit into a particular environment, because you want to be liked from the way you dress. Like, I know this, when I go to Bombay, my molder is always there. My molder is active, and I let it be active, because like, I don't like, so I might as well try to fit into the box and expand as much as I can for people. And finally, sometimes it can be you also. However, this molder takes us away from our true authentic nature. It confuses us about who we really are. It does not let us find out what we really want or who we really are. Like we were talking about these dreadlocks, right? Like I want them. Now, someone who watches our video and goes ahead and gets dreadlocks because they think that, oh, they were saying these are roots and they should get it just without really feeling it, then I would say that their molder is active. Because that person feels that by doing this, this will happen, or I will fit in to this group of people and I will start thinking and feeling like them. It has to come from within, right? So these are our 7 inner critics. I'm sure Ira is going to save this video on her page, right? So all of you can always revisit these 7 inner critics later. The watching are able to notes. Now for the interesting part, which is the second aspect of our session, I'm going to be saying a few statements and you are going to be answering on behalf of a point system. So I'm going to be saying 28 statements to which the answers are, and I'm going to ask you to write these answers down, please. The answers are never, not often, occasionally, frequently, and always. Never, not often, occasionally, frequently, and always. So these are the 5 answers from which you choose one response to the statements that I'm going to ask you. And all these 5 answers have a particular numerical value. 0, never is 0. Not often is 1. Occasionally is 2. Frequently is 3. And always is 4. So I'm going to repeat. Never 0 point. Not often equals 1. Occasionally equals to 2 points. Frequently equals to 3, and is equals. Is that clear? That clear so far?
Yes.
Any doubt coming from anywhere? Question coming anywhere?
Anahata, your voice is cutting off so much. Are you near the router first by chance, the internet router? Because your voice
I
is
am. I feel that my network is really poor. Okay, I'm going to try and do something about this. Can you give me a moment, sister? I'm putting my video and audio off. Just give me a moment. Can I do that?
Take your time. Take your time. We're here. So guys, you can revisit these videos and this very interesting topic and the questionnaire that we're gonna go through anytime here on Erika Healing by Ira Light page, and the episode, the session also will be on YouTube. I will share the YouTube link with you, Anahata, so you can share it from your side as well, so everybody can revisit this practice at any time.
Yes. And is this working fine now? Am I sounding better?
Yes, much better, much better.
All right. So I'm going to say that again. I'm going to repeat that. We're doing a little quiz to identify the inner critics that are active inside of us. And we are going to go through 28 statements that I'm going to call out. Don't worry about writing down the statements right now. For all of you who want these statements later, I will make them available to Ira, and you can even reach out to me and I'll send you this entire document if you want, which has all the critics written and all the statements, which you can practice on your own as well. So today, I'm going to urge you not to write down each statement, but just to focus on answering the statement or responding to the statement.
That would be great. If you can share it with me as a document, I will share it through the video, along with the video.
Yes. So yeah. I will share the document with you, Ira, which has all the statements. And so yes, remember that we have 5 answers, 5 responses: never, not often, occasionally, frequently, and always. And each one of this has a point. Never equals to 0 points. Not often is 1. Occasionally is 2. Frequently is 3. And always is 4. So what we are going to do today is we are going to write the question number down, the statement number down, and next to that, we are going to write the numerical value of our answer to it. Shall we try this, Ira? Okay, so the first one. I set high standards for myself. So now in one of these 5 ways, you have to respond and put the numerical value. So 1 and whatever the answer is. I set high standards for myself. Statement number 2. I attack myself when I make a mistake. I attack myself when I make a mistake. Third one. I get anxious and self-critical when things don't turn out just right. I get anxious and self-critical when things don't turn out just right. And the fourth one, I spend much more time on a project than is needed in order to make it as good as possible. I spend as much time on a project, much more than is needed in order to make it as good as possible. Right? And very quickly, if you all would like, you can add up the 4 numbers and circle it and keep it. Whatever answer you got, am I clear to you, Ira? Are you understanding the process? Your response, yes. So whatever the 4 answers are, 1, 2, you add up the answers, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, make a total and leave it there. Okay. Now we're going to move to the next one. I feel terrible about myself when I get out of control. I feel terrible about myself when I get out of control. Number 6, I expend a great deal of effort trying to control my impulsive behavior. I expend a great deal of effort trying to control my impulsive behavior. Number 7, there are indulgent parts of me that take over and get me into trouble, and then I punish myself for it. There are indulgent parts of me that take over and get me into trouble, and then I punish myself for it. And number 8, I feel really ashamed of some of my habits. I feel really ashamed of some of my habits. And now we can total this group of 4 and make the total and leave it there. Moving on to the third one. Question number 9. I push myself to work very hard so I can achieve my goals. I push myself to work very hard so I can achieve my goals. Number 10. There is no end to the things I have to do. There is no end to the things I have to do. Number 11. I feel bad because I'm too lazy to really make it in the world. I feel bad. This one doesn't work for you, Ira. Definitely never. I feel bad because I'm too lazy to really make it in the world. But
That too lazy part, I am learning to become it little bit. It's not.
number 12. Number 12, I try really hard to overcome my tendency to avoid doing tasks. So this statement is a little tricky. It says, I have a tendency to avoid doing my tasks. And then I try really hard to overcome that tendency. I try really hard to overcome my tendency to avoid doing tasks. And now I'm going to request you to total these 4 and circle it and keep it. And we move to the next questions. Question number 13, or statement number 13, they're not really questions. When I think of trying something new and challenging, I give up before I begin. No chance, Hira, not working for you, don't worry. When I think of trying something new and challenging, I give up before I begin. Number 14, my self-confidence is so low that I don't believe I can succeed at anything. My self-confidence is so low that I don't believe I can succeed at anything. Number 15, I believe that it is safer not to try than to fail. Number 15, I believe it is safer not to try than to fail. Number 16, I feel that I don't have what it takes to succeed. I feel that I don't have what it takes to succeed. And I'm going to request all of you to total these 4, circle the total, and keep it there. And statement number 17, I feel like I have too many flaws. I feel like I have too many flaws. Number 18, I am ashamed of everything about myself. I am ashamed of everything about myself. Number 19, I have trouble holding on to a positive sense of myself. I have trouble holding on to a positive sense of myself. And number 20, at a deep level, I feel like I don't have a right to exist. At a deep level, I feel like I don't have a right to exist.
Damn it, I am magnificent.
Yeah. However, sister, we are lucky, we are also blessed, and that we don't feel like this. However, there are people in the world who do feel like this.
That's why we are here. And
Yes.
that's why we exist, to hold the space for all the ones who will reach out to us. And this is the reminder again and again. We are here, reach out. We're holding space in divine service.
Moving on with our statements and our responses. Number 21, I am troubled by something I have done that I cannot forgive myself for. I am troubled by something I have done that I cannot forgive myself for. Number 22. I do things to people that I feel terribly guilty for. I do things to people that I feel terribly guilty for. Number 23. I tell myself that if I was a good person, I would take better care of the people that I love and live with. I tell myself that if I were a good person, I would take better care of the people that I love and care about and live with. Number 4. I have a nagging feeling that I am bad. I have a nagging feeling that I am bad. Moving on to our last set of statements. Number 25. I know who I ought to be, and I am hard on myself when I act differently. I know who I ought to be, and I am hard on myself when I act differently. Number 26. I'm sorry, before number 25, did I tell you to total up the 4 and circle it? Have you guys already done it? Yeah, superb. And finally, number 26 is I have a hard time feeling okay about myself when I'm not acting in accordance with my childhood programming. I have a hard time feeling okay about myself when I'm not acting in accordance with my childhood programming. Number 27, I feel ashamed when I don't measure up to others' expectations. I feel ashamed when I don't measure up to other people's expectations. And the last statement for our session today, number 28, I feel bad because I cannot be what my family or culture expects of me. I feel bad because I cannot be what my family or culture expects from me. When you're done responding to this statement, I'm going to request you to total it up and keep it in the side. Now, going back to all our totals, the first 4 were the perfectionist, the next was the inner controller, the next, the taskmaster, the next, the 4th set was the underminer, the 5th set was the destroyer, the 6th set is the guilt tripper, and the 7th and final set is the molder. Once again, 1 to 4, perfectionist, 5 to 8, inner controller, 9 to 12, taskmaster, 13 to 16, underminer, 17 to 20, destroyer, 21 to 24, guilt tripper, and 25 to 28 is the molder. All the inner critics that have totaled up to 9 or above are definitely active for you. If any of the inner critics are 7 or 8, they might be slightly problematic for you. And if you have any critic below 7, then it is not creating any problem for you. Ira, would you like to share which one is active or none are active?
No, they're not active. Actually, I got the 5 points for the perfectionist, and 5 points for the taskmaster, and 2 points for the
inner control.
No, so 5 points for the perfectionist, 5 points for the inner controller, 2 points for the taskmaster, 0 for the underminer, 0 for the destroyer, 1 for the guilt tripper, and 0 for the molder.
Well, sister, we all know how much you are in love with yourself and everything that there is. The judgment doesn't exist in your life. And this is amazing. And it is possible to have these answers. It is also possible that some of you might have very high scores. When I do this work with people, people get like the perfectionist score, the inner controller score, the taskmaster score can be really high, which means that you need to let go of that. If it's your perfectionist score that is high, you need to work on self-love and self-acceptance. If it is your inner controller score that is high, you need to work on surrender. If it is your taskmaster score that is high, you need to work on self-acknowledgement. If it is your underminer that is high, you need to work on your solar plexus, your self-worth. If it is your destroyer that is high, which I hope is not high for anybody, if it is your destroyer that is causing a problem, then we work with all aspects of ourselves. There is not a single aspect that we leave untouched. We work with the entire system, from grounding to every emotion that we have, and really identify the trauma that is making us feel that life is not worth existing, or we are not worth, we shouldn't live. If the guilt tripper is high, then you have to work on forgiveness. Forgiveness rituals are very easy. You can write letters to people and burn if you have done something wrong to others. You can write to your own self and burn. You can use the beautiful Hawaiian shamanic healing practice of Ho'oponopono to bring forgiveness into the picture. And you can do visualizations. There's no end. Forgiveness is what helps this guilt tripper go away. Self-forgiveness or of others. And finally, the molder. If your molder score is high, you need to work with somebody to break down the different layers that you have built around you to find out who you truly are. And what really helps with the molder exercise, with the molder critic, is the mirror exercise. Standing and every day looking at yourself in the mirror, and slowly that exercise facilitates you to start identifying parts of you as who you truly are, and then slowly coming out into the world. Because as you see yourself, you start realizing how beautiful you are. You're really seeing to the depth of you. And every morning, a minute I enter the bathroom, the mirror to my right, I just turn so slowly and I look at her in the mirror and like, good morning, Eraji. Good morning. It's gonna be a beautiful day. Sometimes I'm in pain, sometimes something really happens, but that has become a ritual, I love rituals. Yes. I love rituals in my life. Very little things, they create sacredness, they create connection, they open up the heart to more consciousness and expansion. We run our entire life from rituals, from tradition, from what our parents did. But we come a long way. We come a full circle when we create our own rituals that it's working for us. And this practice, and actually when I saw the 5 for the perfectionist and the 5 for inner controller, and I was like, you still have a long way to go, girl. However, Ira, I mean, look, sometimes the perfectionist can help us when we're doing our projects, when we are creating our work, because it wants you to put your best foot forward, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. If it makes you double check, if it's moderately active, it's all right. However, if it's like I said, if the score is above 9, if it's 9 or above, that means it's strongly active for you, and it's definitely causing lots of problems for you. Yeah, it's not as long as the awareness and the awareness is there of what's happening. Yes, it's very important. You don't want to be perfect in whatever you're doing. Just
not in the sense of recognition or self-recognition or others recognition, just because you want to put your best, and your
Yes.
best making you fulfilled, and your best making you feel happy. It's all about you and how you feel about what you're doing. You can be the most perfect in whatever you're doing. That perfectionist is active as long as you're aware of it
Yes.
and it's
And we
working
can
for you.
use, like she said, we can use that energy of the perfectionist to live to our fullest potential, not to suppress us, to make us feel we are not good enough or we will be judged. But we can use that energy of, if the perfectionist is active inside, to be the fullest version of ourselves, to fulfill our potential, to really just expand and break the screen and reach into people's hearts. You know what I mean? Like that. So on that note, this is our quiz, and I hope that all of you have had the answers and it makes sense. And now what I'm going to do is the integration of this session, a short guided meditation with, of course, some healing, so that we can convert our inner critics into our inner champion. Yes, so I'm going to urge everybody to please put their books and pens away. Thank you very much for receiving this work today. And trust that if you have been a part of this session, and if you're going to watch it later, is because you need this work. So take it seriously. And you can also do this work anytime in your life. Like Ira and I discussed, I will make this document available to her and she will send it out, the statements. Yes? So let's begin by closing our eyes. Let's all take a deep breath in and sigh out, connecting to the collective energy of this cosmic activation retreat, of each and every being who has been given the role to hold space and share the love and light, to each and every being who has been joining and who will continue to join and be present in the sessions for their own well-being and for the well-being of our collective. Allow each breath to help you connect deeper to this oneness that is our ultimate reality. This oneness is not only between us and other people. This oneness is also within our own self. Oneness of soul, mind, and body. Oneness of the yin and the yang. Oneness of the feminine energies and the masculine energies. Oneness between the critic and the champion. Breathe these breaths of oneness. And with each exhalation, share this message of oneness into our container, our vessel, and through us to all of creation. And as you breathe, bring your awareness slowly and surely into your heart. Enter the magical forest of your heart. This is your sacred space, your place of love. This is where pure love is created and accessed and shared from. Move into your heart and begin walking on the path that opens up in front of you in your mind's eye. You are inside the magical, enchanted forest that is inside of your own being, within your own consciousness. Take a few moments to breathe and connect to this space within you. Your own magic, your own enchantment, your unique abilities. Take in the scenery of this inner magical forest of your heart. Look around at the trees, trees like you've never seen before. Flowers that smell so sweet, they stir your soul. Butterflies and dragonflies and bees fluttering about, welcoming you into your heart. Then you make your way through this magical, magical inner forest, deeper and deeper inside, until you find yourself in a secluded spot. You make your way to this spot as it beckons you to come and sit down. And as you sit here, you suddenly become aware of a lot of hustle bustle that's going on around you. The little fairy folk, the elementals of this earth, have come forward to meet you in the enchanting forest of your heart. The pixies and gnomes who look after Mother Nature and the minerals. The water sprites and mermaids that are responsible for all the water, even the dewdrops, early morning, that cover the entire world with a blanket of shiny droplets. The fire salamanders, they are here too, the keepers of the fire of the light. And the air sylphs, the fairies that help blow the airs and the winds from here to there. Feel this energy around you within the sacred, magical inner forest of your heart. And as you breathe, the fairies hold up a magical, ornamental mirror in front of you. In your inner vision, you open your eyes and look on the screen of this mirror, and one by one, invite your inner critics to show themselves to you. The perfectionist, the inner controller, the taskmaster, the destroyer, the guilt tripper, and the molder. Invite these critics to show themselves to you in this mirror that the fairies are holding up for you. And also invite all the various people in your life that embody these critics for you. If it is your perfectionist that is very strong, then try to identify who behaves like this perfectionist in your life. Is it your mother or your partner or your older sibling? If your taskmaster is extremely active, then do you see the taskmaster in your boss or in your teacher? If your guilt tripper is active, then do you see anyone in your family or around you that always makes you feel guilty about the things you do or don't do? Invite all those people. Are there people who are not accepting you, forcing you to be inauthentic? The molder, who don't want you to be yourself, who want you to be the way they think you should be. Invite all those people here. And as I call upon the light language activation and the energetic codes of this divine universe, you begin to see each one of your inner critics dissolving in this mirror into golden light, preparing to awaken your inner champion. Wataheya naheya wanaheya naweweya watarana keya heya ho uweyana Uayana, Uayana kerana hiana herana weyaho. Wena kerana wata heya heya. Huana huaya heya. Yana weta kerana we yana we ya he. I choose myself. I'm free to go where I please. I love myself. I follow my bliss.
I follow my heart. Seem again, it was internet problem with dearest Anahata, but we have passed in that beautiful light language transmission, the love she shared with us. Ah, sigh, just breathe through your heart and allow this integration to happen. Tehe ereneyete wete ehereyetene. Tehe ereyetene wereyetete wetene 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 wetene. You are loved unconditionally. You are loved unconditionally, beloved. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you, and we love you. Cecilia, thank you for watching, beloved sister Kirtana, Ananda, Amanda, and for all the ones who will be joining later the Narika Healing page, watching, integrating, allow yourself time, allow yourself the time to process what's coming through for you. We are in such a great time for ourselves and for all of us. Allow those tears of joy to flood your heart. Allow these moments of bliss to guide you through. Blessings, blessings, dear one, blessings, blessings, blessings. We are so blessed to be here. We're so blessed to be in this space. We're so blessed to walk this journey together, sharing the moments of expansion, of love and light. All Nerika programmings are entrusted in divine service and are offered with blessings and grace. All I ask you to do is to share the links with your friends and family. Share it with your loved ones as we are here to expand and grow. Anahata is apologizing from not being able to close the circle, and it's always internet problem. And we thank you so much, Anahata, from the bottom of my heart, from the viewers on Facebook. Beloved, our second session for today, it will be on in the evening, 8:08 India time. Remember, all the timings are IST, India Standard Time. So find your time zone to join us. We have a beautiful channeler in the evening sharing the light code art and basking in the abundance of this light code and with the light codes. And I'm so looking forward to see you in the evening session. The more you show up for yourself, the more your light shines in this circle. Anahata, we love you so much and we thank you so much.